Well, I was making my morning rounds this morning. I thought, oh, I should start working on that hay unroller. And then I remembered I made a deal with myself. I wasn't going to start any new fabrication projects until this one is finished. If you're new to the channel, this is gonna be an automatic pig feeder. I imagine I'll be able to fit several hundred pounds of feed here in the hopper. And then we're gonna make some doors down here at the bottom that the hogs can open and eat at their will. So I'm gonna be working on this a little bit today, maybe most of the day, and try to get some real progress on this project. That's what's going on today on Farmertylerranch. Gotta be like that. Let's see how else it can even go. Well, I think that's right. It's this little table, it just turns your portaband into like a miniature regular bandsaw, I guess. And just because I'm going to be cutting so many little triangles and little shapes out of sheet metal, I thought it was worth it to take the time to set it up on the table. It's been a while since I've used that thing, so I think I did it right, but I guess we'll find out soon. For example, I need 7 more of these triangles, and I'm thinking the portaband table is the way to do it. It's not very straight, but it'll work. You can kind of start to see what this is gonna look like, and I'm really focusing a lot of my efforts on this side of the feeder. I haven't really done anything on the other side. Basically, I've got sort of like a flat bar frame going around this hole, and then this is where the lids are gonna mount so they can flip the lids up and down when they wanna get in there and eat something. I'm thinking I will have to have a center divider here so that we end up with 2 lids instead of just one big one. I think the smart thing to do now is to go around and weld the rest of this structure that I made over here on the other sides of the feeder so that we're kind of adding heat evenly around this thing. So that means I need a bunch of 1-inch flat bar, and I don't have any, so what I've been doing is just cutting strips off of this sheet metal, and yeah, it's more work and it's not as good as what flat bar would be, but it's what I can do right now, so that's what I'm doing. Because I'm using all salvage metal, there's a lot more cleanup than there would be with new metal. So, you know, when you're using this kind of stuff, yeah, you save a lot of money, but you spend more time. Well, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. Not uncommon. I need to get the angle iron welded around the edge of the trough here before I can add the little angle pieces. Having a piece of angle iron go right here serves 2 purposes. For one, it softens the edge so that when they're reaching in here, you don't have this sharp piece of metal right on their throat. But for 2, when I welded this pan, the metal warped a little bit, so when I put the angle iron on here, it straightens this all out. Long side to long side is 30 1/4. I just put that little plate there to contain the sparks. If I had a newer, sharper blade, I wouldn't need that. Well, let's see how my measurements came out. That's pretty good, actually. You can see, look, there's almost, gosh, that's probably like a 3/8 of an inch gap right there, but we'll fix it with this. Looks pretty good right there. Two things before I cut this piece. I just did want to show you a little trick that I found that's much safer when you're cutting angle iron in a chop saw vise like this, and that is to put a piece of square tubing inside the angle iron. It just holds it so much more securely. If you've ever had a piece of metal jump out of the vise while you're cutting it, you will definitely take some precautions to make sure that that never happens again. Ask me how I know. And the other thing, some people were asking me about this saw, what kind it is, if I like it, this and that. It's a Milwaukee. They don't make it anymore, so I'm not gonna really get too in depth on what I like and don't like about it. But it's called a dry cut chop saw, which means that it uses a carbide tipped blade rather than an abrasive blade. These blades cut much smoother. There's a lot less cleanup work when you're done. And I think a dry cut saw is really the only way to go. In fact, I think abrasive chop saws are pretty much going to be obsolete if they aren't already. Other companies make these, like Evolution, Steel Max. I'm sure some other companies do as well. But I think the main point that I wanted to make here is that you cannot take a dry cut carbide blade and put it on a traditional chop saw. These saws, the dry cut saws, run at a much lower RPM. If you try to put that carbide blade on a regular chop saw, it'll burn it up in 2 or 3 cuts. And the reason I'm making a point of telling you that is because I remember one time when I was bragging on these dry cut saws and somebody left a comment saying that the blades were junk, they don't hold up, they don't last. Well, come to find out, he put the blade on a regular high RPM chop saw, and it's like, you can't do that. You guys just saw me do this, so I'll make this one quick. Quick quality check here. Dead on. Other side done. For the most part, the welding is done, at least with the pieces that are on here. I know I've still got a few beads that need to be finished up here on the legs, but I think each leg has at least some completed beads, so I'm not too worried about that just yet. Spent some time trying to clean this up and flatten things out with the grinder. I think I will need to do a little bit more work with that, but all that being said, you're really starting to see what this thing's gonna look like. I gotta tell you, I've been working on this all day, and I'm gonna put a pin in this for now and get back on it tomorrow. I've got some other things that I need to do. Just pulling in over here at the ranch. I got a few things to do while I'm here. The first of which is to check on the lame cow here. Yeah, I'm talking about you. It looks to me like her swelling has gone down a little bit, but I'm kind of waiting for her to take a step because that'll really tell the story. You gonna walk for me? I guess she's gonna make me get in there and push her around. Let me see. Let's see. Oh wow, much better. Well, it seemed like every time she took a step, the calf would get in front of the camera or she'd walk out of the frame. So I don't know. I don't want to harass her anymore, but hopefully you guys were able to see that she is doing much better. There's still a detectable limp there, but I guess I'll put it this way. If I found her in the pasture walking like this, I wouldn't even really think twice about it. You friendly now? Not exactly. Tempting as it may be to turn her out with the other cows because I can tell that's where she wants to go. We're going to hang on to her for a few more days because while she is trending the right way, she's still not all the way there yet. And she's been out of the herd long enough now that when I put her back in, I have a feeling there's going to be some pushing, some head butting, you know, that sort of thing. And I don't want her to be doing that when her foot is still hurting a little bit. It's for your own good, girl. Trust me. Today is pasture moving day, but I'm gonna try something a little bit different. You might notice it's cloudy, it's windy, it's cool. I could almost wear a sweatshirt, not quite. But when the weather starts turning like this, the grass really slows down. And I thought that maybe it could kind of help prolong rotational grazing if I change things up a little bit. So my idea is, instead of putting them into the middle pasture, which is where they would normally go today, I'm gonna put like 3 or 4 round bales here in the big corral, and I'm just gonna hold them in here for a couple of days and let them eat that hay. If I can hold them in here for a couple days, not only does it give that middle pasture 2 more days to recover that it wouldn't normally have, but it gives the next pasture in the rotation and the next one in the rotation. It just pushes everything back 2 days. And 2 days may not sound like much, but for the kind of grass that I have, that actually makes a pretty big difference. And because I'm going to be feeding everybody in here at the same time, cows and calves, my plan is to put 2 bales in the normal feeder here, and then 2 bales in the feed wagon as well. I'm not sure how much hay the calves can reach in the feeder, but they can definitely get in the feed wagon and eat some of this stuff. In the last video when I ran the 8N, I think I mentioned to you guys that the engine was starting to have a knock to it. And what kind of dawned on me, this is my fault. I forget how much oil this tractor burns, and it was still making oil pressure, but when I checked the oil, it was like 2 quarts low. And after I filled that up, the knock kind of slowly but surely went away, and today I don't hear it at all. It's almost like you should keep oil in the engine to make it run good. And oh boy, I hear the comments coming shaming me for not checking my oil, because you check your oil twice a day whether you run it or not. 4 bales, I was thinking about it. That's probably more than they need, but you know, they're out there now, so I'm getting soft in my old age. I guess you guys heard something was going on, huh? Get ready to watch these cows act like they haven't seen hay in years. There should be enough head slots for every adult cow or bull to get their head in there and eat. Calves are just going to kind of have to wait until the cows get what they want. But as you can tell, the calves are not all that excited about getting up in there anyway. You see, it's just like I told you. They'll settle down once their bellies are full. Valves in the field are ready to go. The clock's set on the pump, so I guess me and Callie can head on home. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.